Hello and good morning, Sarah. I finally made it round to actually speaking to you. So, huge apologies about it being the Father's Day weekend. Okay, most weekends you usually find you working, but you'll notice that on Father's Day weekend it's a busy, busy time. So, I have finally got round to you. I do apologise that it took so long. Right, a couple of things anyway, which I know you messaged me before, and I did sort of speak to you there. Okay, but the thing I was actually being drawn to is that it's quite bizarre because it feels like I want to restructure all the foundations within inside your life, okay? Even down to the point of the foundations you're stood on, they feel rickety and rockety, okay? Which would usually put me in a point that as much I don't want to be moving home. What I want to be doing is trying to refocus and find home. So because there's been a breakdown around yourself, the house itself doesn't feel homely, which is quite a strange concept. So I'm going to say that that's been where there's been quite a few changes because it's made the house feel unstable or uncertain. You also got to think because of this, you're either going to start having damp issues around the house or dripping taps, those type of things, because this all comes in under the same bracket. So just be aware of that, because there's been major changes around your foundations, and that's what needs to be took into consideration there. I know you've put is this visual snow or anxiety. The reason I find that quite funny is because it's the fact of everything around yourself at the moment, the amount of stress, the amount of worry, and the amount of panic. You to think of it to be anything else other than your own worry or anxiety. The strangest thing as well is you've never necessarily been good at dealing with the stress, the worries, and those type of things. However, the anxiety recently seems like it's getting harder and harder to deal with. That's because certain parts of your life have left your control, okay? Because they're no longer on your control, your anxiety gets worse, okay? So just be aware of that. So your anxiety is because part of you is gone. Okay, so right, if we were breaking that down onto a relationship term or part, the reason people struggle over breakdowns with inside relationships as such is because they give part of themselves to that person. When that person then buggers off, you leave the other person with an empty hole. So basically, what you've got in a matter of terms is this giant void inside yourself, okay? So this is my phone case. You'll notice the hole. That hole used to be full. So that hole used to be covered by a relationship, a job, a career, a whatever. But it's gone. So because it's gone, you've got a gaping hole, which basically means you're broken. Okay, so because you're broken, every part in your brain is now trying to go, okay, right, I've got to do that. But what it can't do is fix the hole. But what it can do is it starts to panic about, like a bit like a security, putting up like little barriers all the way around that hole to make sure nothing falls in. However, everything falls in, so they can't do enough to stop it. Okay, so basically your anxiety is caused by the fact that your body and your brain has lost control over something it was never meant to control. So whether that's a person, whether that's a situation, but you need to then, the only thing you can do is stand back with inside your own power, and on a meditation vibration, imagine a bright white light all the way down to your toes, okay? So it grounds you, and when it comes back up again, it starts to fill the hole up, okay? A bit like pouring water into it. However, you need to do that, because if you don't do that, that's why life around yourself will feel tasteless. Everything will look grey and cloudy, those type of vibrations, okay? And that's because basically someone took part of you with them. In a way, it would mean that there's a cord or attachment. When you're filling up yourself with energy or as such, you can cut that cord as well. And when you cut that cord, you'll start to repair yourself, okay? So what's gone on around yourself is you allowed your head to lose control. That's in a nutshell, okay? You're not mad, you're not crazy, you're not insane, okay? You just allowed yourself to slip. So that's just one of those things. And if you have a look, that I keep being drawn around your emotions and around your solar plexus area as well. So it basically means something on an emotional level has happened, which has meant that you've completely lost control over a situation you couldn't control. and that is why everything else is spiraling. Okay, so what you need to do is focus on what you've lost control of and regain control of it. Stop trying to regain control of you. Try to regain control over what it was you were meant to do or meant to change. And if it's a case that you weren't meant to change anything, you just have to come to terms with that, okay? And that'll stop the spiral, okay? Because at the moment it feels very much on a grieving basis because you're trying to let go of something you're not ready to let go of. So just be aware of that. I've sort of went over the 5 minutes, so you have to bear with me. I think I've pretty much answered your question. How do you get over this? It's just one of those things. It's a time bit and regaining control of your head, okay? Regaining control over what you couldn't control, basically. Okay, just going to do a couple of really, really quick cards because I know I've sort of gone over anyway. Okay, right. The universe and the fertility card, okay? So the fertility card would basically mean that there's been a loss you can't control, which is basically what that means, right? Or something coming, or new birth, or ending, okay? But to me, it still feels very much like you lost control over something which you weren't ever meant to control. The universe card basically means, in two ways. First of all, it means that connection directly to spirit, and secondly, it basically means that everything you're trying will come to pass, okay? So don't necessarily stress or worry. Everything will be coming good. It's just a case you've got to be a little bit more patient. So hopefully that all makes sense to you, Sarah, and it's been lovely chatting. Cheers. Bye.